Good morning, students. Today we'll start with the second experiment to demonstrate transpiration. And in this, we arrange three setups A, B, and C. In setup A, we take a small well-watered potted plant, preferably one with broad leaves. Why with broad leaves? So that the surface area of the leaves is more and the loss of water by transpiration is also going to be more. And we enclose the pot completely within a polythene bag. Here the pot is completely enclosed in a polythene bag and tie the mouth of the bag firmly around the base of the stem, and this is done to prevent the escape of water vapor from the pot. Now cover the entire plant under a bell jar as in figure A. Bell jar is a jar which is made up of glass and it is open from this end. We invert it over it and we seal the ends of the bell jar with Vaseline or wax so that the water vapor may not come out. Now arrange the second, that is B setup, similarly, and you cover it with bell jar, but in this case you are going to keep the cobalt chloride paper tied with a stick or a strip of cork sheet. And what is the use of using or putting this cobalt chloride paper is that this cobalt chloride paper acts as an indicator of moisture, because when this cobalt chloride paper is exposed to moisture, it is blue in color, it turns pink when it comes in contact with moisture. Then setup C, take a third bell jar without a plant but still containing a similar piece of cobalt chloride paper. Now keep all the three bell jars together in sun. After about an hour, we observe that the first bell jar shows water vapor condensing on its inner walls, and in the second bell jar B also shows the condensation of the water vapor, but initially this cobalt chloride paper was blue in color, now it turns pink. And the third setup C, there is no change at all as there is no water drops on the jar's inner walls either. And the third bell jar here acts as a control for the experiment, and it proves that there is no moisture in the air due to transpiration as there is no plant in it. And of course we can perform this experiment with by taking two bell jars. We could have even taken bell jar B and C. B would be experimental setup, C would be control. But here we have taken three bell jars to show the double proof of transpiration. Number one, the condensation of the water vapor into droplets, and then the change of the color of cobalt chloride paper. Next is measurement of transpiration. There are a number of methods for measuring transpiration. Number one is weighing method. We can take a small light weight potted plant and which can be easily weighed before and after the experiment, and the soil surface and the pot in this case also is fully covered to prevent evaporation from the surface other than the plant. And when we weigh the plant before the experiment and then weigh it after the experiment, that decrease in weight will give you the loss of water by transpiration. And an improvement in this weighing method can be made by using a glass bottle linked with a graduated tube by means of a rubber tubing, and we fill it with water and introduce a plant in it, and the level of the water in the side tube falls after some time, and that fall in level of the water in the side tube gives you loss of water by transpiration. And this volume indicates the loss of water that can be compared with the loss in weight with the help of a weighing machine. Suppose here 2 cc of water is lost. You know 1 cc is equal to 1 gram. So if 2 cc is lost, 2 grams of water is lost by transpiration. And another weighing method is there. It can be done by using a test tube which is filled with water. In this case, we take a test tube which is filled with water and we insert a leafy shoot in it with no roots, and we pour some oil on the surface to prevent the loss of water by evaporation. And students, I hope you all remember we had this type of experiment even in absorption by roots, but their roots were intact. Here no roots are there. So if you are given this experimental setup with no roots intact, it will demonstrate the loss of water by transpiration. And if it had roots with it, we would have said that the aim of the experiment is to show that roots absorb water. And now you place this test tube in a small beaker and weigh them together. Remove the intact test tube and keep it straight. Then from the beaker you remove it and you put it in a stand for a few hours outside in the sun. You will see that the level of water in the test tube falls. Weigh it again by keeping it in the same beaker. Any difference in weight will indicate loss of water by the chute. And this loss of water is going to be due to transpiration. And since it has no roots to actively absorb water, the loss of water through transpiration is going to be much less. So this is another weighing method. Next is Photometer method. Photometer is a device that measures the rate of water intake by the plant. And this water intake is almost equal to the water lost through transpiration. In the beginning of the lesson, I had told you that the water absorbed by the plant, only 2% of it is used up for photosynthesis and other activities. 98% of that water is lost through transpiration. So nearly all the water, only 2% is used, 98% is lost by the transpiration. Therefore, the water intake, if it measures, the photometer measures water intake, it is going to tell you the loss of water by transpiration, or the amount of water taken in is almost equal to the amount of water lost through transpiration. So only this much for today.